Hello, happy Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. I am Lisa J. Stocks. And today we're going to be talking about Gen Z. Now, you may not fall into this group, but your kids, grandkids, people around you may, or you could still be dealing with many of the issues that I'm going to talk about. But I titled today's episode, Gen Z is Broke. Here's how to fix it. So, Gen Z are those pretty much age 12 to 28 right now, maybe even into their early 30s, born in the late 1990s, I guess, up to like 2010. So, this is a unique group of people because they were born unlike any other generation before them. They have instant connectivity. They've grown up with the internet and advanced portable technology, social media, excuse me. Lots of different types of social media, countless digital platforms. They are fluent in technology from, birth pretty much from when they are toddlers. And I've seen this myself with my daughter. She doesn't know a world without FaceTime calls and, just being able to talk to anyone. And so just a different generation than people that are in older generations than them. They are, the digital age. So even though they have so many different advancements, Gen Z, navigating their landscape when it comes to living costs and jobs and the burden of higher education expenses. They have some different things that we may not have if you're in an older generation than that, up to 30 range that I'm talking about primarily is the focus of today's conversation. But despite being the most educated, you can debate me on that if you want. Many find themselves struggling financially. So let me go over to the comments tab. I don't have that showing. So let's talk about what factors are contributing to the challenges that Gen Z and many of us may be facing. So, what is your biggest financial struggle? Let me know. Is it student loan debt? Is it finding affordable housing or something else? Let me know in the comments. And feel free to drop any comments and thoughts, questions that you have. But I'm just going to run through my topic of the day because I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. And I just wanted to, even though it's Super Bowl Sunday, it is just Sunday in general. And this is my time slot that I've been trying to stay consistent. I have been staying consistent with making sure to do my live streams on Sunday. So here I am. So let's get started. Breaking down why Gen Z is facing so many financial challenges. And I have a daughter that falls into this age range, and I want to help her and guide her so that she doesn't have all of these issues and obstacles to deal with. Hopefully, I will help her, and some of what I say gets through to her. But like I said, even though this live is focused on Gen Z, you may be having some of these same challenges. And I definitely want us to be able to support our kids and grandkids in these issues because they are coming into a different world than we faced when we got started with working. So let's run through some points. High cost of living versus wages, debt burdens, social media pressures to keep up, and lack of financial education. These are just a few of the things that I want us to help guide these young people through. Or if they find this video on their own, I want to break it down for them so that they can be on track to have a better outlook when it comes to their finances. So, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have a good Super Bowl Sunday, but thanks for taking a little time out before we get started with the rest of the festivities for the evening and tuning into the live. I see Vincent and Chad and Abigail. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right, so let's get started with biggest money mistakes holding Gen Z back. First, I'm a little tongue twisted, sorry. First, I'm going to talk about impulse spending and emotional spending. Buying on a whim, just seeing it going out, not having a plan of did I need this? Did you think it through? Did you do any cost analysis? Are you looking for a sale? Any of that? No, you just see it and you think you deserve it and you just grab it. So you can try to think things through, even though there is a lot of online shopping. Um, just maybe leave it in the cart for a day. Think it through. Make sure that you truly need the item and try to police yourself in order to take it slow before spending money, especially if it is something unexpected to your budget, something unplanned, unnecessary. We need to put a little bit of thought into things before we just jump in and buy whatever passes our timeline, especially if it is. I know being online, you're bombarded with different ads and sales, and especially on TikTok and places like that. And do we truly need this item? Is this the best price? Is it needed now? Can it wait? All these different things. I know I needed a bathroom scale. My scale, the battery keeps dying. But when it's something like that, or something I need around the house, maybe I need a new little table or something for my recording area. What I do first before I go and spend money, I try to shop my own house and see if there's something in a different area of the house that I could repurpose and use. Or I'll go to my mom and ask, "Hey, do you have anything that I could use instead of always jumping to buying and spending money?" All right. So point 2 is no budget. It still ties into what I was just talking about. No plan, no tracking. So I want us to have a plan when it comes to purchasing items, but we also need to have a plan when it comes to setting our budget. So money comes in, money goes out, but where does it go? We need to be putting more effort into tracking where our money goes. Fixed costs, variable costs, rent, eating out, subscriptions, all of it. If we don't know where our money is going, if we just keep on adding new expenses in there, and you're never going to get ahead and be able to make those smart choices and be able to always incorporate what we're going to get into. What the main focus of my channel is being able to save, invest, and stay out of debt. So, unless you have a budget, unless you're controlling your spending, knowing where every dollar is going, then you're not going to be on track to do those other things. And of course, stay on top of the things that I think are the biggest wealth builders and what you should be setting as your priorities. Next up is keeping up with the Joneses, as us older people would say. Lifestyle inflation, spending more as you earn more, and not incorporating saving more and investing more. There's a lot of pressure from social media, especially I think on younger people, to um, have nice things, clothes, cars, whatever those luxury items, travel, whatever it is. But at the same time, I know we deserve some of those things, but you have to find a balance there, and maybe striving to live below your means in order to be able to indulge and have some of those extra things. But we can't just go for them over and over again and just treat yourself and not be prioritizing where is the money coming from. Sorry, just give me a second, guys. Okay, sorry, got distracted. Um, Let me just take a look at who is in the chat. Okay, sorry, I got a little off track there. Let me get back to another point. No emergency savings. Now, people always say, when I get that tax return or when I make more money or when this or that, then they'll prioritize focusing on saving, investing. paying down the debt, doing the responsible things. But the problem with that is that life doesn't stop. The emergencies are going to come up. So you can't delay having that emergency fund because things are going to come up. You know, you can't just think I just have to pay for the car payment and the insurance. There's going to be repairs, you're going to need tires, you're going to need different things. You know, things happen, things come up. There might be a medical expense, there might be whatever it is. So we cannot put off having savings to be ready for those things, because without that, we're going to be relying 100% on credit cards, and then we're going to be incurring that interest, and that should not be your plan on how to deal with things, because those basic expenses, um, especially the basic expenses, you know, food, gas, utilities, things like that, those subscriptions, those should always be able to be paid in full. But we also have to be ready for those unexpected things, is the point that I'm trying to make here. So now let's get on to trying to fix those financial struggles. Um, and investing can really be a missed opportunity that like I was already saying, that young people may be trying to put off and think like, that's, I don't need to focus on that yet. When I get a little older, when I make more money, whatever, you know, things they're trying to rationalize to avoid or delay getting on track with investing. I want to encourage young people, anyone who's not yet investing, to start investing as early as possible. The power of compound interest and starting young is a great asset. And if you haven't already, or if you've never taken a look at an investment calculator, sit down, put some numbers in it, play around, and really know that that is a really good gauge and way to show you how your money can grow, as opposed to you just spending it all, having it in the local bank, not earning any interest or anything. But even if you have it in a high yield savings account, the the impact that you can, you know, the overall gain that you are going to get from investing versus saving is very drastic. And I want you to know, everyone to know the advantages of it. And even if you start with small amounts into an ETF, like I invest into, for example, VTI, which gives you exposure to the entire US stock market, quarterly dividends, steady growth. There will be years where it is down, but overall, this is an investment choice that I would say does not have a high risk level. You just have to wait perhaps a year, or even 2 or 3 years at times, for the economy to recover. But when you're betting on such a large group of stocks, nearly 4,000 companies, when you're investing into an exchange traded fund, you're getting exposure to so many different companies, that it's a way to get started even if you don't know much about investing. Start small and be consistent with it. And at, like I always put first, have that emergency fund, so that as your investments start to build, you're not looking at your investments in order to get you out of the issues that you're having financially. It's not a savings account, it's an investment account. It's for long-term investing, for it to build and grow. And you tap into it when you truly need to, not when those emergencies come up, and, you know, have cash, have credit available to you, and be able to deal with the situation in that way. That is my encouragement there. So now on to student loans and high interest debt. Now, when it comes to student loans, that might be the only type of debt that I never ran into. I started college when I was 17. I started college. I only went to college straight through for that first year. And I was so I really didn't even know. I didn't even explore getting a student loan. I didn't have an understanding of it. I think I might be the only person who didn't fall into that initially, starting college and taking out a bunch of loans. But I don't know. For some reason, they weren't presented to me. I didn't know to go out and seek them. But anyways, I wound up dropping out of college after that first full year. And then I was working full time. Over the next probably 10 years, little by little, on the weekends, taking classes in the evenings, I wound up obtaining my college degree. But because I was working full time and I had some access to some other benefits, I was just paying as I went along and tapping into my employer for assistance. Now, most people don't are not in that situation. You're going to be finishing college, taking on that cost burden of paying for college before you are into your, full-time career. So, the reality is a lot of young people in this Gen Z age range are going to be burdened with loan repayment that they have to face, credit card payments that they have to face because they are, like we've already touched on, putting those basic expenses, those emergencies that come up on the card, and then they're unable to pay it in full. Now you're dealing with the interest that is hitting you and making it even harder to get rid of the debt. So we need to focus on um, avoiding that debt as much as possible. If you are in this age range yourself, um, think it through before taking out those loans. Is the loan amount that you're taking on worth the career that you are trying to get? Now, I think that um, I should have prioritized getting through college in order to advance my career at a younger age. I've shared that as one of my biggest money mistakes. But at the same time, um, try to think through things through, maybe go to a local college. One thing that I could have done, like in my area, go to a community college for the first 2 years and then maybe transfer to another college or university in order to save money that during those first couple of years. And I know, and you have to think this through because you don't want to lose any of your credits, but there could be colleges in your area that have transfer agreements with those smaller colleges that might be affordable. Another thing, if you are a parent or guardian, like I said, you may not be in this age range, but your kids might be. You know, being able to make those sacrifices along the way. If you are in a good place with retirement, I feel like a lot of people may not even be, but at the same time, we're taking the time to have the parties and give the gifts and all have the upgrades on the phones and the gaming systems. Let's also try to put some money away in the 529 plan or investments or savings in order to help our young people in order to pursue that higher education training, trade school, take that time after high school in order to get on track with having a career. We know how hard it is today in today's economy. We need to have our earnings potential as strong as possible. But at the same time, what I'm trying to touch on is pair that with trying not to incur a lot of debt. So, another thing I did a show recently on credit score. Um, low credit score can equal an expensive life. So, my daughter's not, I have my youngest daughter that's still at home. She's not 18 yet, but when she is, I'm going to have her, encourage her to pull that credit report, have a handle of her credit score, have an understanding, because when she does want to make these moves of renting an apartment, buying a car, even getting a job, getting different types of insurance, that credit score is going to matter. And I want her to be mindful of it and not be in the situation of, having high credit utilization, running herself into credit card debt, all of the things that I'm talking about. Um, because I've been there before. I did it all. And now I'm in the position where I have a better understanding. And even if I couldn't financially assist with, putting money into a savings account or into an investment account on her behalf, I can give her the knowledge. And I want to encourage those of you that are watching this, if that's all you can do, that is something. That's more than a lot of us may have even had in our different households. So Thank you, Vinny and Breeze, and everyone who has Wellness with Frugal Mama, Lucy, um, Andrea, Geeky Girls Journal. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in since I took my last station break. So happy Super Bowl Sunday if you weren't here earlier. And today we're talking about Gen Z and whether you fall into that age range or not, things that you can do in order to guide them, or if you are currently in some of the situations that we're touching on, um, opportunities and ways to uh, fix those issues and obstacles that you are currently facing. Okay, so next up, I'm going to touch on is the subscription trap. This is a big one nowadays, and I think one of the biggest, not necessarily subscription, but maybe I'll hold off on talking about this for a second. But whether it's Netflix, it's the Spotify or different um, things that you use for music, Apple Music, the gym memberships, the even eating out, the coffee, the DoorDash. One of my daughter's friends, she's been over to my house so many times and ordered food delivered to my house. She bought it, but delivered to my house that she's getting coupons in the mail in her name to my address. So I was teasing her about it. But these are the things that can be a huge money drain. And I encourage you, we are still at the beginning of the year pretty much. This is a time, anytime, it doesn't matter what time of year, take an audit, turn off unused subscription, reduce the money that we are spending in order to allocate it to savings and investing. Now, I think I pretty much need or have a use for the subscriptions that I have. But, it's not just about is it a yes or no? Can you make any update or can you stand to take on some commercials in order to have a lower price when it comes to a streaming service? Or is there anything that you can do? Is the gym membership, are you using all of the features? Is there anything that you can do to downgrade it in order to save a little bit of money? And, we all have to take the time to think, does this even truly fit into my budget at all? But, there are also different ways that you can adjust it. So now this one is something that Breeze is saying, nah, I can't do the commercials. Okay. So, all right. So I was having well, let me first say what this topic is that I'm going to touch on next. And it's negotiating salary and making more money. And the first thing when I think of this is a conversation that I had with one of my cousins. And, it was just a regular conversation. I'm sure he doesn't even know how impactful it was to me. And this was years ago, but I'm not going to forget it because he was in a position, he's in a company, he's a hiring manager. In his company. And he was just telling me about how many people that, were moving throughout the different departments that he was interviewing and wanting to bring on over to his team. And when he saw how much they were earning and how much he thought they should be earning, it was a drastic difference. And what the issue was is that when they came in the door, they didn't ask for enough. They didn't negotiate. They didn't come in the door earning a reasonable salary. And now, years later, or however long, it's time, they're advancing throughout the company, but the company is not going to just drastically give you a 10 or 15% raise because you made poor negotiations coming in the door. No, they're going to give you a standard raise and you're still going to be in that next role earning below what others would have coming in the door if they knew how to negotiate and advocate for themselves. And I'm sure that I've been in this position, and not in the Gen Z age range. I'm sure that I've made poor negotiations for myself later in life. So that is something else that we need to encourage, because not every state, they're not even required to tell you how much the salary range is for a particular role. I'm saying this, I'm assuming that this is true. I'm not sure. I don't think that it's a blanket thing that every state is required to tell you that, what the salary range is that they're listing a particular job for. So we have to take the time and do the research and know when we are applying for something. Don't lowball yourself, because if you are a quality candidate, they will take you and bring you on and be glad to be saving that money. And at the same time, like I'm telling you, when it comes to time for those raises, you're still going to get the standard raise. So we have to come in the door we have to negotiate before we come in the door and know that we are on track to really truly advance with the company in the way that we should. So those poor negotiations can cost you a lot over time, just like not being focused on investing early enough can cost you more than you'll ever know. So we have to do our research. I already touched on. We have to build our skills and not be afraid to advocate for ourselves. And I don't think that this is a gender thing, but women have an extra obstacle because men are usually paid more than women in general when it comes to that. So, as a mother of daughters, I think I have an even higher role of trying to encourage them. And like I said, if there are anyone in the Gen Z range that does catch this on the replay, you realize what you have to do. But as a woman, as people of color, of if you feel that there is anything extra that you need to be ready, advocate for yourself and push even harder, do your research and be confident in your skills and abilities. All right. So, overall, as I'm always encouraging, is we need to have a mindset shift. We have to focus on paying ourselves first, and we have to think long term. This is not the channel if you want to talk about, get rich quick. You want to just prioritize options or trading or crypto. No, I do it all, but there is a balance. And I think for me, I think I'm creating a conservative, long term strategy. I'm willing to mix in those other things, but I know what my priority is. And thank you for that super chat. And thank you for stopping by, uh, DT. I saw you out shopping this morning for Super Bowl Sunday, so I know you're ready. Um, so, paying yourself first before paying the bills, before creating a budget, or before not having a budget and spending every dime, we need to make sure that we're building in saving and investing, automating it if possible, so that it is truly something that you're not going to overlook, or, just let fall by the wayside over and over. Your future self will thank you. So, I had Anthony on recently too, and we did a budgeting show. And, I know things change, things have fluctuated drastically when it comes to groceries, at times, gas for the car insurance. But, we have to be able to rein in our budget, because, like I'm encouraging you, I never want saving and investing to not have a place at all. So, 50% needs, 30% wants, and then maybe 10-10 or 20% for the saving and investing, whatever balance you're able to create there. If you don't have an emergency fund at all, maybe you're going to have to prioritize more saving before you can shift more over to investing. But making sure that you're having that long term picture and knowing that it's all just to take care of yourself. You have to make sacrifices, cutting those major expenses, not getting into that car and house. Those are some of the biggest expenses where, you know, you can make that sacrifice in order to have that long-term vision and be able to prioritize all of the other things that we've talked about. It's not just prioritizing fun all the time. We have to make smart choices, and we have to realize I did a live a while back, and I was talking about, I had bought a yellow, Ford Focus, and I was driving it for many years. I bought it at an auction, and it was a way for me to be able to save money after I had a car accident. My car was totaled. So, I had enough money to go to a dealer and buy, a reasonable SV, uh, you know, car, $20,000, let's say, outright. But at the same time, I just kept on driving the old car in order to just give myself more time to save and just take it slow. So delayed gratification, I think is what I'm trying to get at here. We can't see anything. We just all we see is the person's outward appearance. You see their clothes, their jewelry, their sneakers, their car, their house even, but you don't know what financial situation is behind all of what we're seeing there. And we will never know that. And so we can't be jealous of that. We can't be trying to obtain what they have. We have to be realistic and know what our budget is and know what our goals are and be on track to achieve what we are trying to obtain for ourselves and our family. And being since I've been a YouTuber and I'm talking about this, it has allowed me to wind up in conversations more often now with people around me about their finances. And I tell you, out of the conversations that I have, it's been more often that I've been surprised that the person um, not doing at least the same as me or better than me. Most of the conversations that I've had with people, I've discovered that they are doing significantly less than what I would have guessed as far as, investments, the length of time it took them to pay for their car, all different things. So I'm going to take a look through the chat. So that's pretty much it. I think I've covered all of my points, and I just want to uh, be a place where whether you're in the Gen Z age range, you are a parent of someone in that age range, or you yourself are still dealing with some of the issues that I touched on today. I've been there before. I think I've been through all of the different issues that I touch on throughout my channel. A lot of times you don't get to really hear me talk about the specifics because I'm just, doing my regular set video. But I really came into adulthood not having any knowledge of finances, investing, and I could have done a lot better for myself even before finishing college, or any of the steps that I went through. So I didn't have the knowledge, and I want to be here to share my journey with you so that hopefully you can take something from it and do better for yourself in the long run. So let me know if you guys have any questions. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. and give this video a thumbs up. So, I wanna thank everyone for tuning in today. I hope you have a good Super Bowl Sunday, and I know we're all different. I wasn't invited to any Super Bowl party, so I don't really have anything to do, but whatever enjoyment you usually get out of this day, I hope it happens for you, whether it's the game, eating snacks, the halftime show, or even the commercials. Whatever it is about the day that you enjoy, I hope that happens for you. And I hope that you're not sad that it's the end of football season for now. But like I said at the beginning of the show, whatever falls on Sunday, I will be here checking in with you guys in order to be consistent and just stay here and be able to connect with you guys on a regular basis. So I'm here every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm taking a look at the chat. So Pipeline is encouraging investing into Bitcoin as a money reserve. Let's see. All right, I don't see any questions. I'm just taking a quick look through the chat. Thank you for everyone who has tuned in today. Let me know if you have any questions. Always feel free to give any suggestions for lives or videos throughout the week. Thank you, Chad. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. All right. Well, it doesn't seem like there's any questions coming in, but like I said, um, make sure to do everything that we can for yourself. If you are a young person getting started, there is so much that you can do in order to create a better financial outlook for yourself in the future. I know after being laid off several times, if I could go back in time, if I could go back to my 20s, I would have done things very differently. Now, I was already a mom at that time, so my it was gonna be a tougher budget in general for me because I had it wasn't just my expenses that I had to focus on, but there was more that I could have done, and so I just wanted to share. I'm gonna continue to share these type of things. So, Ken, thanks for tuning in, Ken. Thank you, Lucy. So Patrick is asking, what ETFs do I have in my portfolio? So I'll just answer that question for Patrick. ETFs, I have SPHD, SCHD, VTI, and VOO. I think those are the only ETFs that I have in my portfolio right now. And then I also do a fund in my Fidelity account, which is FXAIX. So all the 4 ETFs that I mentioned, I do those in my taxable accounts. And I have a video that shares uh, monthly paying investments as well as all of my ETFs that I invest into. No, I haven't added. Fast Eddie's asking, have I started buying anything new in any of your portfolios, new stocks or ETFs? I haven't added anything new lately. I do have some positions that are very small, like Meta and Microsoft. So I'm not in a position right now where I'm going to be adding anything new. when I say small, I mean like 1 or 2 shares. So I have investments that I need to focus on, even SCHD, SPHD. I'm below 50 shares on those. So I'm still working on certain positions. I want to get my Main Street capital built up. Um, I'm still working on the same, more of the same. Amazon, um, Google, if it, when it's down, when Google's on sale, when it was, down to like 180, um, Nvidia. So, no, nothing new, but there are positions that I have that are small, and even some of the ones that I have been working on for, say, the last 4 years, I'm still not exactly I still want more, so I'm still working on those. Yes, Main Street Capital has not disappointed. Ken is mentioning that one. Um, yeah, if I could go back, I probably would have been, more weeks of investing into Main Street Capital as opposed to Realty Income. So, do I do do I have an emergency fund, Patrick? Yes, I do have an emergency fund. I prioritize that, and when I have a huge emergency where I, have to take out, say, thousands for a large car repair or a roof repair or something like that, I then work on replenishing it because I always want to have that to fall back on because I want to avoid credit card debt at any cost. Um, Hey, Treaches, how are you? Hope you guys have a good Super Bowl Sunday over there. I miss you. Love Maine as well. Yes, David. I saw you put out a video today. I'm going to check it out later on. Um, But yeah, so Patrick, I don't know if you were here earlier. If I'm talking about it, if I'm encouraging you to do it, I'm either doing it or I've already done it because I mean, I'm I'm not going to be up here talking about investments or strategies or things that I'm not trying to implement in my own personal life in my home, things that I would not encourage my own, kids to be doing, so do I have an emergency fund for my rentals? Most definitely, most definitely. I have cash on hand to deal with, repairs and things for the properties. I don't know, I couldn't I could not, deal with not having any money, for that, especially, but thankfully, things have been going pretty smooth. I think I posted on my community wall, I think as of January 27th, we can now file our taxes. I haven't done my taxes yet, but I'm working on, getting all of my receipts and my expenses together. But throughout last year, I didn't really have any major repairs that I have to deal with, but I always have to be ready. It's always something. It just snowed. I got a text message from my guy that does my snow. So yes, whether it's repairs, just landscaping, the dealing with the snow. I definitely have to have money on hand, and I have money on hand because I want to buy another property. It's just the inventory, lack of inventory, high interest rates. I just haven't been able to find a deal that I will actually be profitable because at the same time, I'm not going to get into something and I'm making just. I've seen people buy houses and I'm like, they can't be making more than $100 or a few $100s a month, and with that, one wrong thing happens and that's it. You haven't profited for the month. That's not a situation that I can allow myself to be in, especially not knowing when in the future there can be any reasonable opportunity in order to refinance. I'm not looking to, I'm not even, it's not even crossing my mind that we're going to get back down to 3%. Who knows how many years, if that ever occurs again. But yes, most definitely. Because things happen. things happen, and I have to be ready, just like with my primary property, I definitely have to be ready to take on that expense. Plumbing issues, even I have a house in a city that they pick up the recycling and garbage, the city does, and but my the bin, the garbage bin, I think they charged me $40 for a new garbage bin. So yeah, those little expenses, big or small, I'm ready for them. Okay, so the one is saying, I've tried to reach my niece about investing and showed her your update video on dividends investing into FXAX. When she saw the quarterly payout, she said, "When can I start investing?" Now, the FXAIX, that's a significant amount of money. I think that's the largest investment that I share on my channel. I don't share a full net worth, but I started sharing that because I was a YouTuber when I made that move in order to get a sum of money invested into something new, and that was a change that I made, and it's been. I think it was October of the year before last. So it's been a little over a year and a half now. But yeah, tell her, please tell her that she can achieve that. Just stay consistent. Now, I'm not saying you might, I'm talking consistent for 20 or 30 years, um, depending on what her earnings are and depending how old she is. Did you say? No, you didn't say. Um, but yeah, really instill in her that you are not telling her that it can happen overnight. Thank you for sitting down and watching my video with her. If you've never done this, maybe you could sit down and use the investment calculator with her and take a look at a particular investment. I don't know if she's going to use Fidelity as her investing platform. Um, if she is, then you can consider using FXAIX as your example with her, but show her if you invest this amount of money on a monthly basis or weekly, and just show her over time what she can achieve. I need to do, oh, she's 14. Okay. Yes. Yes. But definitely she's at an age now, she can have a, if her parents will allow it and they have an account at Fidelity, she can have a Fidelity Youth account and she can start investing. And you as her uncle, you can, instead of just the Christmas gifts or whatever financial gifts or things that you might give to her, maybe you guys can do, start buying an ETF or a mutual fund, some individual stocks. I don't know what might interest her, some Apple stock or something like that. But I would do a higher percentage into a fund that pays those quarterly dividends and will build up for her over time. Okay, let me take a look. Patrick, um, this is how I always Patrick is asking, what's the total amount of years that I've been in the market? Now, I'm not gonna tell my age, so y'all could go figure it out. And I tell people, if you figure it out, don't come and tell it over here. Um, but when I graduated from high school when I was 17, went to college for a year. By the time I would say 19, I was working full time. So that's what I consider my start to being in the market. For a long time, that's all I was doing was contributing to my 401k. So then, I would say around maybe 2019, 2020, I incorporated more than just contributing to the 401k. That's when I created an LLC, um, started to I bought my first rental property and started the portfolios, some of which I share on the channel in order to um, create. additional investments outside of my 401k that I can tap into, hopefully for early retirement. And it's been within that same time range of the last few years, the last about 5 years, is when I also opened a UTMA account and a Fidelity Youth account for my daughter. So I got her started in investing in that way, I would say in the last 5 years. But because I was working in a corporate company at the age of 19, that's when my investing journey really started. You can go on and laugh at me, Treacherous. Treacherous Trey over there. What were the first stocks you invested into? Okay, so in my personal accounts, I think Apple was the first a few years ago when I got started investing, it was Apple. As far as those, as far as my retirement accounts when I was young, um, I'm pretty sure I was in different target dated funds and different things. Now that, I've worked at a few companies and I've gotten laid off, I've always kept all of my retirement money. I kept them in investments, but now I've transitioned them into different IRAs. I have them all still in separate buckets from the different companies that I've worked at. But now I do a mix of things, mostly still targeted funds if I'm able to. Well, not if I'm able to. I have found ones that the performance are in line with what I find acceptable. So I am have some investments in targeted funds. I have a high amount into, I think, I don't know, over 700 shares into FXAIX. And then I do have some other individual stocks in my IRA, including NVIDIA. Oh, Ken. Ken said if his niece wants to get started investing, he will help her out with the first $1,000 to get started with investing. I hope she takes you up on that, and I hope that you are able to um, partner with her parents to, find the right investment account for her. If not, maybe you'll hold it for her in your name until she's old enough. But that is a very nice and generous gift that you're giving her, as well as the guidance, because that really matters for someone who knows how to do these type of things, focus on investing. I mean, I want us to teach our kids everything. Even the other day, I was talking to my daughter a little bit about taxes, and I know this stuff is boring, but uh, I no adults when I was as a teen or preteen, even as a young adult, 20-ish, no one was having these conversations with me about, choosing insurance, investments, keeping up with the car registration, and budgeting. There's certain things that are monthly, but we also have to think about the big picture when we're working on our budget. What are those things that are gonna come up every 6 months, every 3 months, every 2 years, or, even, uh, renewing your passport, renewing your license, all these different things. If you pay attention and prioritize putting the work into it, you can be better on top of all these things when they come up. So it's not a surprise. It's not a bust. Your budget is not busted when all these things come up. No one had these conversations. It's okay. So Treacherous is saying no one had the conversations with him either. This was not a topic of discussion. Yes. And I have 2 daughters. I have a minor daughter and then my other daughter, she's older, she is married, and even myself, I didn't know, even though I had already lived through it, where I felt like the people around me didn't teach me much. I still struggled with, not struggled, I just didn't do it. I still did not pass on as much knowledge to her as I wish that I did, because there were certain things that I didn't even know yet, in order to help to guide her. But now that the more I know, the more everyone around me is gonna know because I'm not here to keep the information. And, Tretches in the chat, I've known him since he was young, and I've known, like, my daughter's friends since some of them since grammar school, high school, I've seen these people, these young people grow up, and I wish I had the money mindset in order to have given them more knowledge, but can't go back in time. All I can do now is be here, and if there are any questions or anything that I can help with, be here to encourage and help troubleshoot. If I don't know the answer, we can figure it out together. Um, so I was just trying to make sure this future generation in my family is okay with finances and understanding that what it's like to invest in their future. That is very nice of you, Ken, and I hope that her parents are on board with what you're trying to share, and that you're able to, create the account and truly get going with investing because you're not the parent, you don't have the Social Security number, and, you have to be able to, the birth certificate and all that good stuff in order to get started with investing, but it is really a great way to build your wealth, and, I don't know. I hope that people see the big picture on it. I hope that your family is on board with it because some families are not encouraging and supportive of something that I feel like, how could you not? How could you not be supportive of this? This is such a great move that someone is trying to make. Okay, okay. Right, Uncle Ken is giving another 1,000 for the niece and 1,000 for the nephew. All right, Ken. So, Ken, do you wanna share any investments that you plan on getting them started with in their portfolio? Are the parents on board with actual them having, an investment account in their name, or how are you gonna go about it? But, okay, that might be a bit much, but if anything, how much? What's an investment choice that you want them to have? So, guys, what are you guys gonna be eating tonight during the Super Bowl? I'm trying to cut calories, so I'm trying not to have a bunch of potato chips and all that stuff. I'm gonna be eating my popcorn, my Smart Food popcorn, and some lighter snacks, uh, and trying to get on track. VTI, okay, so some investment choices that Ken wants to incorporate in the niece and nephew's portfolio are maybe VTI or other Vanguard ETFs, okay? You are bringing back memories when you had to pay your first tax bill. It was a wake-up call. Yes. I was thinking maybe of something to get them going, yes. So, right now, I'm still my daughter's portfolio, it only has 5 positions right now. So she has, 3 individual stocks, and then well, she has, say, 80% into, ETFs, and then, 20% into individual stocks. Right now, the individual stocks we have in there are Tesla, Home Depot, and Apple. But I think I want her to have, I haven't gotten around to changing it up, but I wanna start some other individual stocks still within that small percentage. I might just shift the amount that was going into Apple, for example, into, maybe NVIDIA or AMD or something like that. Alright, I'm taking a look at the chat. Sorry, I don't like any dead air when I'm live, but sometimes I'm just reading. But yeah, so I think yeah, I just I love what David has not David, I love what Dividend Ken has been sharing because whatever age, the kids are around you or the young people are around you, just try to tailor the conversation and the guidance and the encouragement to where they're at, you know? I think a lot of times, especially I grew up in the household with my mother and my grandmother and they paid the bills. Probably my mother, because of the financial situation, of just having to rent and everything, she probably stayed living with her mother longer than she wanted to because but it was someone to help with the bills. So together, my grandmother and my mother paid the bills. The three of us lived together for many years prior to my mom getting married for the first time when she was in her 30s. So I think that because money was tight, they weren't having those type of conversations because I think it was an atmosphere of not something to bring a child into because the budget was probably very stressed and trying to keep up with the car payments and the insurance and everything. Even and my I'm the first generation born in the US and for whatever reason both sides of my family uh when they immigrated to the US, they never sent the kids to um, public school. Catholic school and private school was a priority of my family. So that was another expense that my mother had to always pay for private or Catholic school for me. But I never went to public school. And um, the same with my both of my parents. They finished part of their education in the US and once they were here, same with them, same with my grandparents, they sent my parents both sides, my grandparents on both sides prioritize sending their kids to, Catholic school, um, so I don't know why I got off on that, started talking about that, talking about I was just talking about, that I don't because of the way the situation was, that money was not a easy topic probably to talk about because there wasn't much money, there was a stress when it came to money. So, it probably wasn't a conversation of, "Let me now have Lisa come in here and we talk about paying the bills," whereas right now I'm actually, I'm in a good, okay place financially, so it's okay. It's a easier situation, I think, for me to talk to my daughter about, "Okay, so I have to go in and I have to pay the property taxes, and, there's been some changes to the utility company, and you see, let's look back to January of 2024 versus January of 2025. See how the electric bill has gone up, see how the car insurance has gone up." I'm okay with having those conversations with her and she knows that even though the bills are going up, I can pay them. Whereas I think, if you're in a different household, where if you're in a household like I was probably growing up in, where it was just a struggle, to keep up with the bills and everything, there wasn't then going to be, well, let's teach Lisa about the this and the that, because it probably wasn't something that they wanted to have a conversation about. I can remember I was little. I'm not sure exactly how old I was, but I needed clothes. And another thing when it comes to clothes that's funny about me, because I went to private and Catholic school, my entire life, I never really had much, like, regular clothes outside of my uniform and my dress clothes. So, it was always a thing for me about having clothes because it wasn't a priority to buy me clothes. I didn't really There wasn't much money for it. So, having nice clothes and sneakers and stuff like that wasn't in my was not the way I grew up. But, um, I remember once I needed clothing. I was small. I'm maybe about 7 or 8 years old. But I needed clothes. I was outgrowing my clothes, and I'm in the dressing room with my mom. I think my mom's friend was there too, and we were trying on clothes, and I'm trying on the clothes, and she's like, "Yeah, I like this and that, whatever." And she was like, "Okay." So she picked up what we were gonna buy, and I was, like, nervous. I was like, "Mom, you have money? Is this okay? Can you buy this much?" So, when I think back to days like that, it shows me that I was worried even, at those young ages. I was mindful and not wanting to do anything to stress my mother and have her spend more money on necessities. I needed clothing. I was a growing girl, but I can remember those days, so I can. That's why it's clear to me that just living the way that we were, there wasn't going to be probably any mindset of let's then teach her how to manage bills and finances and stuff. It was just money comes in, money goes out, not a big priority on investing, and it's definitely not investing, barely saving. So, all right. So let me just take another quick look at the chat. I wish I could go back home and just spend my money on a Yeah, I wish someone else paid the mortgage too, and I could just invest a whole lot. Yeah, that sounds good. But at the same time, you don't wanna live with your mommy. My parents didn't teach me about money. I didn't learn about investing until I was 27, sadly, but learning and got better at it over the years. Yes. Thank you, Ken, for, watching and commenting, and yeah, um, yeah, it is what it is. This is a story, and, um, the way that I did things, it's not the way that I would want anyone else to I don't want anyone else to follow in my footsteps, but certain things, once it's the situation, there's nothing you can do about it. But I created some issues for myself that I could have made easier in the long run. Um, uh like having my daughter very early, not focusing on going to college straight through, taking accepting that first full-time job when I was still a teenager, you know, that those things, are obviously gonna impact you long term. But, nothing I can do about my family situation, but I could have maybe made different choices, stayed at home longer, not gotten myself into a situation where I needed the full-time job. Um, as far as staying with a roommate or staying with family, it was always gonna be a different situation. Once you have kids, it's not just you. It's, you need your situation, is different just because of that. Uh, Let me see. I have 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters that I gave birth to, but I have bonus kids. One of my bonus kids is in the chat right now, meaning, when I say my bonus kids, I mean, there's other friends and family members, some of my daughters', best friends, as well as their families. I consider them my bonus kids. But yeah, I have 2 daughters, and because of the situation, this is another if I haven't shared this or if you haven't heard me say this before, my daughters are, about 16 years apart in age because I had that first daughter very young. I said left that alone, for that length of time, and this situation has happened many times in my family. My sister and I'm 19 years older than my sister. Same situation. My mom had me in high school and then didn't left that alone for 19 years. And the same thing with both of my grandmothers. Whereas their first child to their second child is close to about, 18, 20 years difference. So we learned our lesson, but yeah. And by the way, guys, I'm not a grandmother. Just to share, I'm not a grandmother yet. Amazing story. We had to wear uniforms at our school as well. Yes. So, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. It's Super Bowl Sunday. I'm gonna let you guys go, but I'm gonna tell you one more story because I think I was starting to get towards this story when I was talking about the clothing situation. So, because I wore a uniform, even I did have a few years when I went to, it was a Catholic school too, though. Private school and Catholic school, there were times where I was able to wear my own clothes, but it had to be dress clothes. You had to wear, a button-down shirt, belt, tie, um, skirt to your knee. Never, you had to wear socks or stockings, enclosed shoes. It was never like sandals or Crocs or the way that these kids dress nowadays. No, it was like business attire if I did wear my own clothes. But because I had such a little bit of clothes, I would well, I just didn't this never happened to me, but I was protecting myself from this happening. So I would write down what I wore so that I could stretch it out as much as possible. So basically, if I wore the black top, I got to make sure that I wear every time I wear this black top, I'm going to wear it with, say, three different pair of pants and accessorize it differently just to try to stretch out my clothes as much as possible. So that was something that I did in order to protect myself from getting teased. Um, OKLO to my daughter's portfolio. Have to have a look. It's on both of my kids' portfolio and a top performer at the minute. Top performer in mine. Okay, I will take a look at that. Is that you? Is that you, Mike? You should do a biography video. It could help some young people. I listen. I'll think about that. I need to practice. I need to practice. But, being on the live, it gives me the opportunity to just chat a little bit and uh give you some more backgrounds about why I am the way that I am. And but at the same time, I don't know how my live audience mixes with my video audience. But I'm going to wrap it up for today. Like I was saying earlier, enjoy the Super Bowl, enjoy the food, the game, the snacks, the halftime show, the commercials, whatever it is about today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in this Sunday and any other Sunday when I am live because I appreciate your support. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell so that you can keep up with all of my videos and live streams. And I will see you next Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. Stock it up, 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 stock it up. It's Lisa J Stocks. It's Lisa J Stocks. It's Lisa J Stocks. It's Lisa J Stocks. Hey, stock it up, 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 stock it up. It's Lisa J Stocks. It's Lisa J Stocks. It's Lisa J Stocks. It's Lisa J. Yeah, yeah. Like, share, subscribe.